A survival run is a run where we use natural obstacles in a natural environment. The races generally consist of a very demanding all-terrain course of between 70 and 80 kilometres, no fixed distance, and somewhere between 10 and 12 obstacles, although the environment that we take part in also forms its own obstacle. We got 43 people into the race this year, and one of those entrants was Mark Wheeler. And he's a patient man, and he's confident without being cocky, and unbeatable attitude.
Seems like he's trained pretty well, and I think he has a really good approach, like he has a nice positive attitude.
Yeah, I met Mark the day before, prior to the race, and he was like a super nice guy, so nice energy, I would say. He has a very strong spirit. I would say this guy has the spirit to go through hard stuff and keep going. He was still cheering, smiling, like not fighting, was just like, yeah, I got this. You know, however I feel, I got this.
This whole running thing really started when a guy at church grabbed me one Sunday and said, "Hey, you ever thought about running a marathon?" And I thought, man, I never in my wildest dreams I think I could run 26 miles, you know, and really never had any intent to do more than just that one marathon, sort of check it off the list, and found that once I got in shape it was enjoyable and just kept running. And the marathons got a little bit boring, where I was looking for something more. I picked up a copy of Born to Run. It really was that book that got me thinking about ultra distance running, and would it be possible, could I ever run a 50K or 50 miles or 100 miles. Was able to train for the Leadville Leadman, and was able to do that and become a Leadman, and in the process just sort of really fell in love with running on the trails and being outside and just those long periods of time. I'm convinced of the fact that these ultra distance races are not just the sort of place where kind of athletic freaks hang out, but they're really just everyday folks. I turned 50 this year. Last year I was looking for something that I could do to celebrate my 50th birthday, but also really something I could do to push myself beyond anything I'd done before. And from what I can tell, both the survival run and the 100K following, both of those are really, really significant events and accomplishments. And so my focus has been prepare well and come ready to put one foot in front of the other and see if I've got today mentally and physically what it takes to make it from the start line to the finish line. So we get an email this morning. Josue says, that's the race director, says, don't forget your flotation device or swim flotation device, which is completely new. Haven't heard that. He's never said that before. We're 2.5 days out from the race. So I sent an email, Josue, flotation device, ? Please elaborate. This is the response I get from Josue. I don't know if it's an addiction or not. If it is an addiction, I like to think it's a good one, where we sort of live life fully and stay active in the process. And clearly, the first impression of Ometepe on the ferry coming over is the volcanoes, especially Concepcion, as you sort of get closer and closer as you come on the ferry, and it grows in size and stature. Coming here knowing we're going to be running up that, and likely with a load. It's a rather daunting sort of image, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. The jungle, the people, the slower pace of life is just really lovely. It's really like you're in an oceanfront resort here, except the water around us is fresh water instead of salt water. My sense is about survival run that very few of the variables are controlled, and so the notion of open water swimming here on big water that looks a lot more like the ocean actually than a placid lake. There's sharks in there, there's crocodiles or alligators here. Clearly we're going to be in the jungle. We know there's other wildlife and stuff in the jungle, and just the remote nature of it, the unsupported nature of it, it creates a lot of angst, I think, in me.
fell in love with the island, the whole dynamic of the two volcanoes, the fire and the water, and just kind of how peaceful it is here, but yet wild at the same time. You know, it's just such an interesting place. I was very inspired by it, and the first thing, you know, when I was getting into running ultra marathons was I really want to do an event on Isla del Metete.
Never done a survival run before, not really sure what to expect, and part of the whole run is that they don't tell you what's going to happen. I'm anxious. I don't think I'm anxious in the sense of apprehensive. I'm just anxious because for months and months now I've been working towards this day, and I'm excited to begin. And so the process of tapering your activity down before a race is odd when you're used to being really active, and so I don't do very well with just kind of sitting around and hanging out. Excited, anticipating a great journey, bit apprehensive, but ready to go. It's hammer time.
Over here, you'll find your bib number on the list. We're going to write your bib number on you. We also want you to memorize your bib number.
I did not have any idea what I was getting myself into for this survival run. It was an ultra marathon along with challenges that were either mentally or physically demanding, some of them both. The combination of the two, all within the context of one race in a rather harsh environment, was an extraordinary experience.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. If I get hurt, lost, or die, it's my own damn fault. Survivor Run 2015, let's go! Good job, brothers. We'll see you soon.
All 41 of us that started that thing together all had our own dreams and our own hopes and aspirations for the race. And at the end of it all, I certainly hope that everyone was able to meet those needs or meet those dreams and goals for this race. Woo! Yeah. It's a lovely swim. The volcano, swimming out there, you have the volcano over your shoulder, and it is absolutely spectacular. Number 40. Every sport has its people who kind of are trailblazers and define the sport. And I have vicariously watched Sean. He doesn't know that, but he in this survival racing world, hunter-gatherer stuff, is a legend. So it's an honor to meet him and to get to run beside him for a bit tonight. Guy's a beast and a legend.
The one factor that's going to take a lot of people out who make it through the first night is going to be the heat.
I was really tempted when I was getting frustrated to start like hacking things, but I thought whoever owned the plantation farm wouldn't appreciate that. But it was really fun to finally find my number. Then I could like the plantation.
Dinner too.
Fifth in the water, third out of the water, second to the plantain. It took me 45 minutes to find my bib number. It just killed me, but passed about 10 people on this last section of the beach, so I figured if there was running involved, that's why the little scrawny guys have an advantage. It's just running. Survival run is brutal. It's designed to be brutal. That's the point. Pushing you to your boundaries, finding your weakness, exposing them, and then asking, do you have what it takes to overcome that fear or that weakness and persevere on in the journey? I am blessed with the greatest kids on the planet, and they're just amazing. And Marshall and Amy both always send me encouragement, lots of support during training. And Amy, a number of years ago when I started the whole Leadman process, would send me letters before the race. And so I've kept all of them, obviously, and this morning I've gone back and looked at those letters, and she had another one for me this morning. She closes that letter by signing her nickname, that we gave her as a little girl doodlebug. Be strong, trust God, kick butt. I'll start the race with Amy's words of affirmation on my forearm. Thanks, Amy and Marshall. Love you guys. What really is amazing is that my kids really are, in a very real way, they're my earthly heroes. Their commitment to lives of integrity and their commitment to being people who make good choices is inspiring to me. They're so disciplined. They're such wonderful human beings. Forget the athleticism, forget their academics. They are wonderful human beings. And I am privileged and blessed beyond measure that they are a gift to me as their father. And they are the ones, they and our wife, that carry me through those dark moments.
The challenges are all natural. We try to simulate, to some degree, the way of life on the island where we live. And that could include wood chopping, tree felling, diving, coconut tree climbing, boulder smashing, boulder carrying, any of the things that are a normal activity for a person who lives in this part of the world, we incorporate into our race. We ask competitors to compete for a time cut-off of around 30 hours, guide them through a range of obstacles over the course.
It's okay? One of the diving challenges actually took us a dive where you had to dive down and find the rubber that was used on the slingshot to make it. What nuts, eh? Hey guys, wanna go for a run? I think for me, the thing that happens on the inside of me in an event like this is that I often have questions in my own mind. If it gets really hard, what's my level of resilience? What's my level of determination to not give up, to not quit, to push the boundaries beyond what I had thought previously were my limits? And it's things like this that are bigger than I can imagine, beyond what I can solve or beyond what I can fix in my normal life, that make me ask those deep questions about what am I capable of mentally, what am I capable of physically, what am I capable of spiritually, in terms of who I am as a person, and never quitting, never giving up, staying flexible, but being unbreakable.
Well, my daughter's name is Amy, I told you that, right?
Yeah, no.
And she's like the coolest kid on the planet, like
Yeah.
on the planet. This one's for you, SRC Beth!
And it's that part of it that for me is the greatest sense of personal accomplishment. It's not a trophy or an award, it's that thing on the inside of me that says on a given day, I was asked to do something that was almost impossible.
We're heading up the volcano.
Throughout the course of the race, they give you these little idols, and each of these idols appear at different points in the journey, and each of them has a word on it. And each of these words, if you get all 4 of them, add up to I did not fail. Yet in the process, you collect these. And so the very first one that I received was at the top of the Madeiras volcano. You had to get to the volcano, swim across the lagoon to a tree, and then climb up into the tree and retrieve your first idol. So that was we started 5 p.m. It was about 2 a.m. or so in the morning. I swam across the lake, found this idol, swam back, and then from there you move on. And then throughout the course of the day, as you get to other set points that you don't know when these are going to appear, there are things that you do to earn these idols. And so the first one you get says fail.
I'm telling myself that for the last 10 minutes with this boulder. Frank's my man on this.
Yeah, one of my sort of heroes who was an early part of the ultra running scene, who actually founded the Leadville Trail Series, the Leadville 100, says that the Leadville 100 is 60% physical and 90% mental. And that really, I think, hits the nail on the head. There are a lot of really physically strong people, but it's that mental piece, that ability to just continue on step after step after step. That's what separates folks who finish these events and those who do not. Mental toughness, mental stamina, not mental toughness in being belligerent or ornery, but mental stamina in terms of being flexible, malleable, being able to move with a changing environment, being able to react to things that are asked of you that you didn't know were going to be asked of you, keep your head in the right place, and then be able to have the physical attributes to fulfill the challenge.
The roll on that stone was crazy. I wish they'd just let me run.
Mental first, physical second. You can be mentally strong, but if you show up poorly trained, it's over. So you've got to come here at the top of your game physically, but you also have to come here at 110% mentally.
They've got to harvest a green bamboo cane. They're about 40 to 50 feet long. They weigh a couple of 100 pounds. They're about 4 inches thick or more. They're hard. They've only got a hacksaw blade. They've got to cut the bamboo and then pull it free of the clump, but it's very hard to pull free, and then they have to harvest it to a 4-meter length before they carry it to the tree for a tree climb, and then they can leave the farm with their bamboo.
Marshall, say I won't, pal. I'm not like gonna give you the tongue or anything. That's gross. I can't even drink water. My face is so dirty. Yeah, there's no catching Paco. I think that I'm okay with the notion that I have a medical issue that happens. If one gets injured, that's one of those things that's outside your control. If you don't make a time cutoff, you don't have a choice. The race folks pull you out of the race. I was okay, I think, with one of those two things happening. What I wasn't okay with was me voluntarily pulling myself out of the race. I met local folks who I bought a chocolate-covered frozen banana from at 5:30 in the morning, which was like a gift from heaven. And how can you not have those sorts of things happen in the course of the day and just not love it?
Did you sign up for fun?
Different definition of fun.
Just follow in there, the checkpoint's a couple of minutes in.
Roger.
Usual gig, show your egg, show your bamboo, and they'll let you know the next instructions.
And I saw him getting out of the lake, shivering, like intense. I'm like, that was scary. I'm like, I have to go there. And you know, from what I know, Mike is a strong guy. I'm like, am I gonna die in that lake? Is it gonna happen now? But then after that, I saw him again, all the way down to the bamboo, and he had to cut bamboos, and he was still cheering on for me, and he was on his roll. I was happy to see him there.
I think we're going to swim often. I think people should be ready to swim. It's really what separated the men from the boys and the women from the girls last year in a lot of ways. And I think it was done at the beginning and the end. 2014, I expect at least twice, and I wouldn't be surprised for 3 or even 4 times. It's going to be a real winnowing obstacle, I think, in terms of people staying in the race or how much it costs people to stay in the race. You're either going to find God or you're going to go squealing home. It's going to be hard.
Awesome.
Good luck, enjoy.
Thanks, we'll see you on the other side.
Get it.
I think the scariest part of the whole adventure for me was at one section we had to circumnavigate an area called Punta Gorda, and we had to stay on the coastline. You were not allowed to go inland and try to cut your way through for 2 reasons. One, there were at some point along that journey, there was a checkpoint where you would be given a task to perform, and if you guessed wrong, you would miss that and it would negate having completed that challenge or gotten through that point. The coastline there is just rocks, volcanic rock coming down with the surf breaking in on it, and there were a number of points on little headlands where I was really doing 5+ bouldering, going across the face of rocks, not wanting to get in the water any more than I had to, But clearly, numerous falls, numerous plunges into the water happened. That was a 3.5-hour piece of the equation. And if you were not careful physically and very guarded about where you were mentally, that piece of the journey could have easily been a defeater. One of the things that Josue and the race directors added this year was this rubbing idea. Apparently there are a lot of petroglyphs on the island, and so to sort of reflect that, at various points in the journey at challenges, you were given the opportunity, if you completed the challenge, to do a rubbing. And the rubbings, I learned later, were actually the engravings that were on the finishers' medals or the finishers' trophies. One of the things we were told ahead of time, a little thing we were given a hint about, is that slingshots are used by the children on the island. You might want to learn how to make and shoot a slingshot, but not buy a slingshot from your local sporting goods store, but actually make one. I was able to make my slingshot. I was able to hit the target a couple of times on my practice runs, but when I actually stepped into the circle for the shots that I was given for the challenge, I didn't make that challenge.
Check out my new ride, man. You gotta get these at Rolling Age.
I do believe the more I've done these things, if I can enjoy the journey and enjoy the moment, it keeps me actively engaged. And I begin to look around and look for points of beauty in that moment. And that's really my commitment, is to try to find at any moment in the process, look around and find the beauty in the moment, because they're there. There are beautiful pieces in all of these journeys if we will control our mind and our spirits and our attitudes coming in. And it just makes the journey much more enjoyable.
Left the last check station at the bottom of Concepcion Volcano, Volcan Concepcion, and they're telling me this is a 5-hour deal up and down, and I'm 22 hours in to the process when I left down there, and I am absolutely hammered. Arms are gone, forearms from the stone carry and all the upper body stuff that we had to do, and then all the open water surf stuff and running around the island on the outside in the surf. We got 5 hours of work to do here, so it's time to just get after it. This is the time in these races when it really just there's just nothing fun about it. It's been a lovely experience so far, but the entire crew that started, I don't know how many people started, 40 or 50 teams, as well as individuals. No one's left in the race. It's completely decimated everybody. But the 3 guys on the mountain, so Paco, who was really one of the pre-race favorites, big-time ultramarathoner from Mexico, and just a beast of a guy. He's a couple hours in front of me, and local guy who trains here, runs here as an ultramarathoner. He's, I think, an hour or more in front of me as well. So those 2 guys are going to duke it out for the win here, and that's awesome because one of them deserves it. I'm just going to try to haul my 50-year-old carcass to the top and get back down without breaking anything. So. We just slid down, I think, probably
2/3?
2,000 or 3,000 vertical feet in sand on a big avalanche chute. It was just sand and little rocks. It was a blast. But Paco got his slingshot, and I didn't get mine. There's high tech, and then there's this, and it ain't high tech. And it's gonna kill my butt.
It's gonna get her done.
Adios.
That's fine. You did too.
Yeah.
So here's your chance to win the entire thing. So all you need to do is climb up a tree and get a coconut. And then you have to take that coconut to the finish line, you have to open it up and drink the contents.
I want to see Josue do this. Just so tired. I just don't know what else to try, and I have never climbed a coconut tree that big around. So it's been a great day. Climbed a couple of volcanoes. Got my butt kicked. I'm gonna go to finish and celebrate with Paco and Christopher. Their awesome day they had. And I'm 50 years old, and it's my birthday present, and I'm a happy guy. And you begin to hear people cheering. It's just incredible to know that all that work, all that hope that's inside of you, that great desire that you have to achieve this thing you're not really sure you're capable of achieving, to see it just right there was just awesome. And so fun to see Josue at the finish and get a big old hug from him. Susan's right there taking pictures. It was amazing.
I think it kind of just comes down to that little adapt or die thing, you know, and adapt or die doesn't mean you're going to adapt, you're going to die out in the wilderness if you do our race. It just means you're essentially adapt or fail, adapt or not finish the race.
You know, I do not go through those why am I doing this kind of things very often. It didn't happen today. I never really got to a really, really dark place in the race. It wasn't because it wasn't hard. I think it's really about where I was mentally, where my spirit was, how much fun I was having knowing that I was journeying in this thing with others and with my family and friends. It was a whale of a lot of work, but it was a joy to be a part of. To head out for the Fuegoaga 100K. So we're 30 hours, I guess, maybe past finishing the survival run and gonna head out again. And so I've got both Volcan, Madeiras, and Conception in front of me. Conception you do kind of 1 2/3 times on this climb. You go up and down and then back all the way to the top and down, and then back up through the rainforest or the cloud forest on Madeiras and back on down. Thankfully, no challenges. We're not going to be rolling rocks or diving or doing that kind of stuff. So today we've just got to put one foot in front of the other and see if we can't knock off 100K. So. People always want to know, like, what do you think about when you're running and that sort of thing, you know? And sometimes I think my answer is not a whole lot, because I'm just trying to figure out how to not fall over. But when you have those moments where your mind is clear and you can actually concentrate on things around you, and at the end of the day, it's really family and friends that are forever in my mind as I'm climbing and working, knowing that the disciplines that they've shown me in their lives, the journeys and the struggles that they're struggling with, I share those struggles with them. If they're willing to pick up one foot and put it down and overcome and achieve the things that are important to them, I'm certainly not going to do my very best to not quit either. One of my miles, Robin and I never stopped moving, was a 38-minute mile coming downhill. It's that steep and rough. I call this thing the Devil's Double. I'm probably not sure, except that you probably come to face with the guy from down south a few times in the process. So
2 days later, he went to run probably one of the hardest 100-kilometer races maybe in the world, on a brutal course, 2 volcanoes, a total of 3 ascents, around 26 hours an average time for the competitors to finish, and around 90 entrants and 19 people finish, I think, in the end.
We're just about done. 6K from finishing up this crazy thing called the Devil's Double. Hard to know how to feel. I'm just so tired. You sort of almost don't have feeling. I know earlier today I was losing it a few times in just emotions in terms of thinking about the kids and Sue and just the privilege of being able to do something like this when So many folks don't even have that privilege. It's just an amazing thing.
Sean told me about the lead man. Post-Way picked him as being a finisher as soon as he saw his name, and he brought himself round. I watched him run the whole night, felt incredibly motivated and inspired by his achievement.
My head and my heart are overwhelmed because I realized that something that I'd worked for so diligently and had set as a goal for myself, I'd been able to accomplish. But beyond that, people were reading me Facebook messages that folks were sending from all around the planet, words of encouragement. The other racers, they were along the course giving words of encouragement. The race organizers, the volunteers were all there encouraging, and you really realize that if you want to achieve something like this, that you don't do it alone. In no way do I think that this is an accomplishment that Mark has done. It's really my wife, my children, my friends, my family, everybody involved with the race. I am overwhelmed with gratitude for those folks that they would invest in this relationship and in me in such a meaningful way.
Thanks everybody for doing without you. It's been awesome.
Top of the mountain and back. The only video I've ever heard is taking camera all the way to the top. You said strap okay.
Cover your huevos.
Oh no!
And then they're going to climb the volcano. They're going to climb up the volcano. When they arrive there,